Also, if you have any questions about any of the stuff that I've mentioned there, feel free to put it down in the comments. You can also check out my new moon in Virgo video if you're interested in more details on that. I've got details about what it means for each sign in that video. I see, by the way, Cancer, a lot of blue background energy and clouds energy, so it's sort of like clearing away the clouds in your mind. Blue represents the mind, represents logical, analytical thought. It's sort of like representing the air, and all of the air element has to do with mentality, thoughts, what's going on in your mind, what's going on in terms of your beliefs, and all that kind of stuff. And with that going, with that much blue energy, with 10 of Wands, and it's right next to Ace of Wands in reverse. So 10 is the final cycle in terms of the numbered cards, and 1 is the beginning. So there's an end and a beginning. However, there's some resistance to this new beginning. I'm going to talk more about that. Wands represent fire, so it represents everything that has to do with passion, with motivation, with anything that's fiery, anything that has to do with action. It's got Mars energy. And 10 of Wands depicts someone who is overburdened, who is weary, who's carrying too much, and they've been carrying it for a long time, so it may feel like their back is breaking. So what I want to ask of you, Cancer, is to consider what it is that you're carrying that's not yours, or what are you carrying that's not necessary, because this card depicts someone who's carrying so much that they need to put something down, and putting down what's not necessary can alleviate your burden. It can alleviate your feelings of oppression. That's what this card is about too. It's sometimes called oppression. And another meaning of this card is the teacher. 10 of Clubs or 10 of Wands can be considered the teacher, and so it's having collected a lot of experience, and a way to offload or lighten that load is to teach others. So this can be a card of having a lot of irons in the fire. It can be like having too much to do, carrying the weight of others. I always ask, what can you put down that's not necessary, or what can you offload or teach to someone else when this card comes up? And 10 is a completion of a cycle. You're holding as much as you can. You can't hold anymore. So what can you put down that's not necessary with? And then there is a new beginning here. This is Ace of Wands. All aces are new beginnings, and this is an Ace of Fire. You can see it's a sprig that's blooming. It's an oak sprig, and it's sort of like the universe is handing you this. And this card is a real card of renewed energy, of optimism, of feeling vital, feeling like you have the energy, the drive, the passion, the enthusiasm, all of that. The basically new fire to pursue something and to go after it. The archetype of Ace of Wands is that of the baton thrower who's out in front of the parade, so the first one out of the gates, the first one leading the crowd. It's also got the archetype of the person in a race who's carrying the baton, the active element. So it means having courage, passion, energy, vitality, and it's sort of like a new spring that is a new beginning, a new charge to be taken. However, in the reverse position, they're saying it's sort of like there's some doubt, resistance, or fear about going forward with that. I'm actually going to say, Cancer, that for you, it may feel more comfortable to be carrying all this stuff. It's like a familiar load. Rather than to let go of some of this and begin fresh and new. You can see how much lighter this card is because you've gotten rid of 9 of the Wands. Some of those 9 Wands may be dead. They may not be relevant anymore. It may be literally old baggage. And there may be some fear about putting down those 9 Wands and beginning anew, beginning fresh, being literally enlightened, literally lightening your load. If you think about the difference between someone who's carrying 10 things versus 1 thing, this person is ready to run. This person can barely walk. So consider that, Cancer. Is there a way in which you may be in a position of feeling weary, feeling carrying too much for too long, feeling oppressed, feeling tired? Is there a way in which you're experiencing any fears, doubts, apprehension, about letting some of those things go and having this new, fresh promise sort of spring, this new sort of, what do they say? Some like a spring in your step. Because that's the very different energy between these two cards. And the fact that this is in reverse says that there's some resistance, fear, doubt, apprehension about that. So consider what it might be like just to be free and just to have one thing to carry, one pursuit. And part of that is part of the reason that this may be in shadow. If you see what's going on with both of these cards, they both have these clouds, this Neptune energy. This is before that Neptune-Saturn square resolves. So Neptune can be very cloudy, can really be full of illusion. And these Seven of Cups represents temptation. It represents dissolution. It represents like all these shiny options, but it may not be that what you see is what you get when this card comes around. This is kind of a card of false promises or temptations, or like what's behind door number 3. You can see that they're all very attractive. For this one, for this choice, it's victory. For this is who do I want to be? This is treasures. This is a person, like falling in love with someone, castles in the air. There's all these choices in this card of shiny, special, like fun things to pursue. I often think of like Las Vegas when I think of this card. It's shiny. It's like gambling. It's like, oh, what rewards can I get? But there's something that's an illusion about, temptation in things that keep you hooked. There may be addiction here. There may be fantasy here. There might be a certain way of seeing things through rose-colored glasses or believing something to be something other than it is. When this card is in the reverse position, it's especially so that you may not be seeing things as they are. You may be trying to project something onto this or believing something about one of these choices that isn't real. There's a real sense of fantasy in this card. So what I want to emphasize to you is that there may be a way that you're preventing yourself from experiencing this freedom, this new spring, by your attachment to these things that are seductive to you, these things that seem glittering, shiny, castles in the sky, promises, false promises. This card says really like check things out, do your research, see if it really, look the horse in the mouth and see if it really is what it says it is. Don't believe it on just, the outer surface. And then it also says, Cancer, that you may be going through some sort of heartbreak. This is 3 of Swords, which is a pretty clear card in terms of its imagery. It means disappointment, sorrow, heartbreak. It's got the dark clouds above. It could just be, sometimes it shows up as betrayal or third wheel energy. Like this is often the card that appears for, when your lover runs off with your best friend, or that kind of energy, disappointment when things don't turn out as you had hoped them to be, or you believed in something. It's just heartbreak. So there's some of that perhaps related to this card. I mean, you may be finding out that something wasn't as shiny as you thought it was. This could be the realization of believing in this fantasy. So be careful. Don't just take things at face value at the beginning of the month. Really do your research and see if there's a way that you can lighten up all of your burdens, what you're carrying, things that you've collected over time, old baggage, and get rid of some of it so that you can experience this freedom. Even if you're in the middle of heartbreak, this is available to you. You just have to let it in. With these cards, all 3 in a row, with 3 of Swords, High Priestess, and then surrounded by 5 of Cups, which is a card of grief and sorrow, there's going to be a certain way in which you need to get insights and information from looking within. Both of these cards, these 2, 3 of Swords and 5 of Cups, are really about sorrow and loss and grief. You may be grieving over something that you've lost, Cancer, but there's going to be answers for you available in going within. High Priestess is a card about listening It's a card. She sometimes is actually hidden behind this veil, and it's connecting with your subconscious and the information that is there. You can see she's got this scroll on her lap, which represents the etheric world. It represents information that is just known internally that she has access to. This crescent moon represents the feminine aspect and just being receptive and listening. That's where information comes in. And it really means going within, getting quiet, listening, connecting with information that surrounds us. So what it tells me is that even though you may be experiencing some heartache, some disappointment, some betrayal, something's going on that is heavy in your heart. Both mentally, that's what Swords energy represents, and emotionally, that's Five of Cups energy. You can see that the focus is on the loss here. This is either spilled blood or wine. There's basically a loss of emotional energy here. And, the dark clouds, just like is echoed here. But even within that, there's an inner chamber where information is available. And I'm going to say that there's rewards, knowledge to be gained from it. That's what Five of Swords is about. But you're not necessarily seeing that because it's in reverse. You'll also notice that this is two 5 cards in the center here of the month. 5 means the chaos and disorganization before new order is created. 4 is very ordered, very stable, but it can be restrictive. The function of 5 is that it creates chaos and busts things open. You can think of it in terms of like a revolution number. It's about change. It can be restlessness. But what it does is 5 prepares us for 6, which is newly evolved order. It's harmony. It's love. It's friends and family. So we go from a rigid stability through this chaotic break to a finer stability of harmony. If you think about the 6 sides in a beehive, in the honeycomb of a beehive, it's about friends and family. It's about the hive. So 5 of Cups shows emotional loss. Again, you'll get insights by getting quiet, listening within. There's information available for you if you can be receptive to it. And then there actually are lessons to be learned and information to be gained, like rewards and spoils from this event. But you have to seek them out. They're going to be laying on the battlefield. This is the sun setting on something that has happened, likely related to this 3 of Swords situation. By the middle of the month, it's done. It's ended. The sun has set on it. It's a battle that has already happened. But the 5 of Swords shows someone who is collecting ideas, information, thoughts, beliefs. It's basically knowledge and experience from having been through this battle. And it's sort of like the spoils of war that you take away with you. It's new knowledge, new information. It's rewards of having gone through that. It's absolutely not usually pleasant because it has been a battleground, but it's almost like a live and learn card. And it means you've got to look for what is the lesson, what is gained, what is the new information, ideas, thoughts, beliefs that you can take away from this. You may be resistant. You may be resistant to seeing any benefit in it because it has been so difficult or so challenging. 5 of Cups, 3 of Swords, and 5 of Swords they're not happy-go-lucky cards. They're kind of somber and kind of sad, but if you can see from a different perspective, if you can turn around and see there's still love available to you, there still is riches to be gained from this situation, it can benefit you, Cancer. So I encourage you to look within for information about what's going on if you're feeling sad, betrayed, just downtrodden. And see what you can gain from it, because it may actually help you in your work. This card, Eight of Coins, is a card of the artisan. It's a card of someone who just sort of whistles while they work, someone who enjoys what they do. It can be a creative pursuit, or it can just mean like enjoying getting your work done, the satisfaction of producing things. And not only is this person producing works of art, but it's also producing money. So it's a great money card as well. When this card appears in the reverse position, it may say that there's some frustration with work, or just feeling like stuck, feeling like you don't want to go in, you don't want to sit at your workbench, whatever it is that you do for a living. this is saying, gosh, I normally like this, but I don't really feel like doing it right now. I think that once you get past what's going on emotionally and mentally and collect these rewards, these spoils, see that there is information and knowledge available to you in terms of what has happened, then it may help you correct your work situation. Because there's something new available to you here. It's interesting, you actually have 2 aces in reverse, and you also have death here, which death is a pretty clear ending card. And it's funny because you have an end of cycle card here and an end of cycle card here. And then 2 aces in reverse. So with the combination of those things, it's saying an end is coming for you. But you may be resistant to start the new cycle. You may be like, I don't know where to go. I don't have any inclination or idea. Or I'm almost afraid to begin again. I'm afraid to start something new. It's interesting too because up at the new moon in Virgo, which opens here, so it's kind of like a new thing is starting. And this is similar to the theme of your reading here, is that a new thing is starting, but it's almost like the old baggage of the past cycle is hard to put down. It's sort of like clinging on to something from the past and dragging it into the current cycle. So consider that, Cancer. Think back to 1997 about what was going on for you. With these 2 aces, new fresh energy. The universe is handing you new passion, vitality, action. And then Ace of Cups is same as Ace of Water, which is the heart energy. It's emotion. So it's a new joy. Again, this is new. With these 2 together, it's new passion. But because this is the fire element of passion and this is the heart element of passion. But this is Ace of Cups. It means creativity, joy, peace, happiness, fulfillment. It's literally my cup runneth over. My cup feels over full. And it's a card of finding enlightenment through the mud. This is a Buddhist symbol of the lotus. It's planted in muddy waters and it blooms on the surface. So having your heart feel full and feeling like overjoyed. Finding something that absolutely fills your heart. And this is something that like makes you want to run with it. But those are both new aces. So new beginning for you for sure. But you're going to have to push through any of this emotion, or recover from, I'll say, any of this emotional difficulty, see the insights by getting quiet and listening within. And then you may be able to get rid of or dissolve any fears, any doubts, any resistance to new beginnings here. It's the cycle is changing. Time is changing anyway. That's what Wheel of Fortune means. Like tides turn, seasons change, tables turn. Wheel of Fortune basically acknowledges the changing of time. So you see the hand of fate running this wheel of time. Whoever was on the top is going to be on the bottom. Who's ever been on the bottom is going to be on the top. It's an acknowledgement of the change of the seasons. And it's also a change of luck. So it's a change of whatever has been happening is going to evolve away and something else is going to evolve towards you. So this means the changing of time, the changing of seasons. You know, things are changing. It's basically an acknowledgement of change. It's also interesting to notice that all of these cards have these clouds in common. And it's sort of like in this one, it's handing it from the universe. Same thing, here's the hand of fate. There's a real sense of like the fates or the universe. It's got this Neptune energy to it, so it can be very spiritual. It's like the clouds are getting cleared away. What you weren't able to see, especially in relation to this card, if there's something that was seductive to you, something that you thought was golden and turned out not to be something that you kind of fell in love with, some old clouds might get cleared away in terms of that. It might allow for a new beginning with these aces. And time is happening either way. You can see how much more to clear skies are on this card versus, say, this one, which is mostly filled with that cloudy Neptune, I'll say gray, shadowy element. But after the 10th, that starts to clear away. Then at the end of the month, you have Death and Knight of Coins coming up. So this could be the parting of ways with an earth sign. This card Knight of Coins usually depicts an earth sign, so Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. It can mean that you're ending a relationship with someone who's an earth sign, or it can mean, this also can just be the archetype of someone who is like the salesman. If you're July 4th Cancer, this represents you. This is Jack of Coins. So it could be like the ending of part of yourself, acknowledging something of yourself that's ending. Death represents the end of a cycle. So the rose has bloomed. It can't go any further in its life. It's the acknowledgement of the end of a cycle and the willingness to let something go. So somehow this knight is viewing death here, recognizing that the cycle has ended. It may be that a Taurus person ends something with you. And usually knights are clever, romantic, spontaneous, playful, but they can have a trickster side to them. They can be a little bit dishonest sometimes, or they can be, less than honest. So be aware that energy is showing up for you. Knight of Coins has the salesperson archetype. There's someone who is very practical and who drives a hard bargain. There may be something that's ending regarding someone who's either, like, for example, if you employ a salesperson, this could be ending that for you. Or it could be that there's a earth sign person that you no longer are involved with. In one way or another, it could be that the earth sign person or the salesperson or the courageous, playful, clever, romantic person is acknowledging an end or is telling you about something that is coming to an end. There's all that energy there present. And it's sort of like its time has come. That's what both Wheel and Death say. The time for this night thing is over, whatever this represents. So that's my reading for you, Cancer. I hope you enjoyed it. Try to lighten things up. Try to get through this emotional thing and see the rewards in it. That's going to allow you to have this new, fresh beginning. The clouds are clearing away anyway in regards to it, and time is changing. It's taking its own natural course. You just have to allow that to happen. Be willing to cut the cords from the past. Be willing to let go of something that is old and done. And see that this 5 energy is breaking things open to this new, fresh ace beginnings. So there's beginnings available to you if you choose to pursue them, Cancer. You just may have to get over your resistance to the idea of that. So that's my reading for you, Cancer. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like it or share it with another Cancer that you think may want to hear that message. If you've subscribed already, thank you. And if you haven't, feel free to, if you'd like notifications of when my new videos become available. And as always, I just want to say thanks for watching. Yours in the stars.